Ladies and gentlemen, too many believe that money is a game of chance, a lottery of luck, a prize tossed by fate. They whisper that wealth is random, that fortune favors only the chosen few. But I stand before you to declare a truth: money is not random. It is law. Just as gravity pulls objects toward the earth, the laws of wealth pull money toward those who understand and obey them. When a person walks through life without a fixed aim, they are like a ship without a rudder, drifting wherever the winds of circumstance push them. They may work hard, they may be sincere, but their efforts are scattered, unfocused, and without direction. Money does not flow to scattered effort. Wealth obeys the command of a definite purpose. Definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all financial success. It is the difference between wandering through a forest and walking a marked path. When you decide exactly what you want, whether it is a certain sum of money, a business built to serve millions, or a position of influence, you send out a signal to the world. That signal acts like a magnet, drawing people, opportunities, and resources toward you. Vague wishes produce vague results. Saying, "I want to be rich," is not enough. Rich compared to whom? Rich by when? Rich by what means? But the moment you declare with precision, "I will create a business that earns $1 million in 5 years by delivering this service to this market," the universe begins to align in your favor. The people you meet, the ideas that come to mind, the circumstances that unfold, none of it is random. It is the law of definiteness of purpose at work. A mind with a fixed goal develops an unusual power. It begins to recognize doors that were always there, but previously unseen. It finds courage where once there was fear, persistence where once there was hesitation. And when obstacles appear, as they surely will, a definite purpose becomes the anchor that prevents retreat. Without it, the slightest setback causes surrender. With it, every failure is only a lesson on the way forward. Think of the great fortunes, the great inventions, the great movements in history. None were born from guesswork. They began as definite aims, held with such intensity that they transformed mere ideas into realities. Money follows that same law. It does not flow to the indecisive. It does not reward the uncertain. It does not honor the dreamer who will not declare his dream in exact terms. It comes to the one who has made up his mind, planted his feet firmly on a chosen path, and refuses to be moved. When you have a definite purpose, you cease to chase money. Instead, money chases you, drawn irresistibly to the clarity, the conviction, and the certainty of your vision. Belief is the foundation upon which all wealth is built. Nothing great has ever been created by a person who doubted his own ability to bring it into being. The world responds to the image you hold of yourself, and money is no exception. If you believe deep within that you are meant to live in abundance, that you are worthy of wealth, that you have the power to create it, then every thought and action you take moves in harmony with that belief. But if you secretly doubt, if you think riches are for others and not for you, if you expect little from life, then life will return little in kind. The mind is a fertile field. Whatever seed you plant in it, faith or doubt, confidence or fear, will grow into a harvest that mirrors its nature. Those who expect poverty, who constantly speak of lack, who see money as scarce and hard to come by, inevitably create conditions that prove them right. They attract missed opportunities, small paychecks, and endless struggle. Meanwhile, those who expect increase, who believe in their capacity to create wealth, open doors that others do not see. They act with boldness. They invest energy where others hesitate. They press forward where others retreat. Expectation shapes not only how you think but how you act. A man who expects to win walks differently, speaks differently, and works differently than a man who expects defeat. That inner posture becomes visible to others, and it draws them in. Investors, partners, and clients trust the person who radiates certainty. They sense belief like heat from a flame, and they are warmed by it. They sense doubt like a chill in the air, and they withdraw from it. Understand, this life does not give you what you wish for. It gives you what you expect. Wishes are weak, but expectations are strong. Wishes drift in the air, but expectations grip the mind and command action. When you truly expect wealth, you carry yourself as if it is already yours. And this attitude shapes every decision, every conversation, every risk you are willing to take. Money does not come to those who doubt their own worthiness. It comes to those who believe they are rightful creators of value, rightful masters of their destiny. When you adopt the belief that you are capable of abundance and the expectation that abundance is already on its way, you stop chasing money and begin to attract it. People, resources, and ideas start moving toward you in ways that others call coincidence, but there is nothing coincidental about it. It is law. Effort without organization is like water spilled on the ground. It scatters in all directions, soaks into the soil, and disappears without power. But when effort is channeled, like water through a pipe, it gains force and direction. This is the difference between a person who works tirelessly yet achieves little, and a person who applies the same energy with precision and builds an empire. Money recognizes and rewards not the mere act of labor, but the intelligent organization of that labor. Every fortune has behind it a well-structured plan. It may have begun with a simple idea, but that idea was shaped into a plan, and that plan was pursued with deliberate, organized effort. You may possess great ambition, burning desire, even strong belief, but unless your energy is directed, it will yield only fragments of success. A builder does not throw bricks randomly into a field and expect a house to rise. He organizes the materials, lays the foundation, follows a blueprint, and places each brick with care. Wealth follows the same process. Scattered effort leads to exhaustion. Organized effort leads to progress. Many people mistake business for effectiveness. They fill their days with countless small tasks, run from one thing to another, and then wonder why their lives show little advancement. The truth is, random activity produces random results. But when you set priorities, arrange your actions in sequence, and discipline yourself to carry them out, you harness a power that multiplies your results. The most successful people are not always the strongest or even the smartest. They are the most organized in their thinking and in their doing. They take their definite purpose, shape it into a plan, and then work that plan with persistence. They do not leave their days to chance. They order their time, they direct their focus, and they measure their progress. Every step they take is a step closer to their aim. Money is attracted to order because order creates efficiency, and efficiency multiplies value. Think of a factory that runs chaotically, with workers moving without coordination. Output is low, errors are high, and profit is small. Compare it with a factory where every worker knows his role, every machine is maintained, every process flows in sequence. That factory produces wealth in abundance. In the same way, the human mind and body, when organized around a central aim, become a living factory of riches. Organized effort is the bridge between desire and achievement. It turns vision into action and action into results. Without it, dreams remain dreams. With it, dreams take form in brick and mortar, in contracts and bank accounts, in businesses and legacies. Money is not drawn to chaos, it is drawn to structure, clarity, and direction. The person who understands this truth will never confuse motion with progress, nor activity with accomplishment. He will organize his efforts, and in doing so, he will compel money to obey the law that governs it. Money does not come because one wishes for it, nor because one works for it blindly. It comes because value has been created and delivered. Wealth is the shadow of service. It follows naturally when you give something that others need, want, or cherish. Those who chase money directly often find it elusive, slipping through their grasp like water in their hands. But those who focus on creating genuine value for others soon discover that money pursues them, for value is the magnet that draws wealth with irresistible force. To understand this law, one must see money for what it truly is, a certificate of appreciation, a token of exchange. Every dollar in circulation represents someone's gratitude for a service rendered or a problem solved. When you fix a man's roof, you shield him from the rain, and in return, he pays you. When you provide a tool that saves another's time, they exchange money for the hours you've given back to them. When you create a product that improves life, simplifies work, or adds joy. People eagerly give their money because you have given them more in return. Many people fail to grasp this truth and spend their lives asking, how can I get more money? They should instead ask, how can I create more value? For the marketplace pays not for effort alone, but for the usefulness of that effort. A person who labors 10 hours at a task that benefits no one earns nothing. Another may spend 1 hour inventing something that benefits thousands, and wealth flows to him for a lifetime. It is not the time invested, but the value produced that sets the measure of reward. Consider the greatest fortunes in history. They were built not by men who begged for riches, but by men who found ways to serve humanity on a grand scale. One made travel faster, another made communication easier, another made food more accessible, another brought knowledge to every household. Each fortune was born of a contribution. Each dollar that poured in was a reflection of the lives that were improved. Value creation requires imagination, observation, and the will to act. It demands that you look at the world and ask what problems remain unsolved, what desires remain unfulfilled, what pain can I relieve, what joy can I increase. The one who answers these questions and acts upon them will never worry about money again, for money will chase him as long as he continues to create. This law also reveals why greed fails. When a person tries to take without giving, when they cut corners, deceive, or exploit, they violate the very principle upon which wealth rests. They may gather money for a season, but it slips away, for it was not anchored in genuine value. Only that which serves others endures. The fortunes that last for generations are built upon contributions that never lose their worth. To create value is to plant seeds in the soil of human need. At first, the return may be small, but as the seeds grow, the harvest multiplies. A farmer does not resent the waiting season, for he knows the crop will come in time. Likewise, when you focus on serving others, even if money does not arrive instantly, it is accumulating silently, preparing to reward you in proportion to the service you've rendered. Thus, money should never be the master. It is the servant, and it obeys the one who devotes himself to value creation. When you enrich the lives of others, you enrich your own. When you give with vision, energy, and purpose, you will never need to chase wealth, for wealth will chase you without end. No man has ever risen to great wealth or great power without the aid of other minds. One individual, no matter how brilliant, is limited by the reach of his own experience, the strength of his own body, and the ideas within his own head. But when two or more minds come together in harmony, working toward a single definite aim, something extraordinary is born. A new mind emerges, greater than the sum of its parts, capable of producing ideas, strength, and results no one person could achieve alone. This is the unseen power of alliance, and it is one of the immutable laws of money. Wealth multiplies through association. One man may have vision but lack resources. Another may have resources but lack direction. A third may have connections but lack courage. Alone, each of them struggles. Together, they are unstoppable. History shows us again and again that the greatest fortunes have been built not by solitary men working in isolation, but by groups of minds united in purpose, complementing each other's strengths and covering each other's weaknesses. But there is a secret to this law. It is not enough simply to gather people. There must be harmony. A team filled with envy, distrust, or conflict will sabotage itself and collapse under its own weight. True alliance is built on mutual respect, shared vision, and trust. When these ingredients are present, the collective mind produces ideas and solutions that seem to come from nowhere, as though a higher intelligence has joined the group. And perhaps it has, for the power of harmony among minds is a force greater than in any individual imagination. Consider the power of a great orchestra. A violin alone can create beauty, but when joined with the cellos, the trumpets, the drums, and the flutes, all playing in harmony, the result is music that moves nations. In the same way, one man may achieve modest success on his own, but when he joins with others in harmony, directed toward a definite aim, the results become symphonic, echoing far beyond what any one player could produce. The Law of Alliance also explains why many people struggle to create wealth. They try to do everything by themselves. They guard their ideas, they hoard their energy, they mistrust collaboration, and as a result, they burn out in isolation. But the wise man knows that wealth loves multiplication. He seeks out partners who share his purpose, allies whose strengths complete his own, and minds that, when joined together, form a creative force that money cannot resist. In business, in invention, in leadership, in any pursuit of wealth, the most valuable asset is not machinery, not land, not even capital. It is the collective power of minds working together. A lone candle gives light to a room, but 1,000 candles can illuminate a city. A single thought may spark an idea, but a mastermind alliance can turn it into an empire. This law is not merely about teamwork. It is about the creation of a new intelligence, one that opens doors, attracts resources, and bends circumstances to its will. When you align yourself with other determined minds, you step into a current of power far stronger than your own, and that current carries you toward wealth with a speed and certainty that no individual effort could ever match. Money flows to harmony. Money multiplies in unity. Money answers to the law of alliance. Persistence is the iron quality that separates those who dream from those who achieve. Desire gives birth to the vision. Belief gives it life. Organized effort sets it in motion. But persistence keeps it alive when everything else seems determined to destroy it. Every man or woman who has built wealth has faced obstacles, disappointments, and failures along the way. The difference between those who quit empty-handed and those who finish rich is not luck, nor talent, nor even intelligence. It is persistence, the refusal to be defeated by temporary setbacks. Money does not surrender to the half-hearted. It yields itself only to those who prove, through repeated effort, that they are determined to have it. Many begin with enthusiasm, but enthusiasm fades when the first obstacle appears. The persistent, however, press forward when others retreat. They understand that defeat is never permanent unless accepted, that every failure carries within it the seed of a greater lesson, and that perseverance eventually bends circumstances to the will of the determined. Persistence is not stubbornness. Stubbornness is clinging to a failing plan even when wisdom suggests change. Persistence is the willingness to adjust methods while refusing to abandon the goal. A river carves through mountains not because it attacks the rock with one blow, but because it flows without ceasing, day after day, year after year, adjusting its path when necessary yet never stopping its course. In the same way, persistent effort, adaptable, intelligent, and relentless, cuts through every obstacle that stands between a person and his wealth. The world often tests those who seek riches. Just when success is near, difficulties arise as if to ask, are you truly worthy of this reward? Will you pay the price? Most turn back at the very threshold of achievement, not knowing that victory lay only a few steps further. Those who persist are the ones who cross that invisible line, claiming the prize while others surrender. History remembers countless examples of this law in action. The greatest inventors, leaders, and builders of wealth endured countless rejections and repeated failures. They were told it could not be done. They were mocked, doubted, and opposed, yet they pressed on. Why? Because persistence gave them vision beyond the present moment. They saw what others could not, and they held fast until reality conformed to their determination. Money favors the persistent because persistence creates trust. The world trusts the man who will not quit, for he proves his strength by enduring trial. Investors, partners, and opportunities are drawn to such a person, knowing that his determination makes success inevitable. And so wealth flows to him, not because he never stumbled, but because he always rose again. Persistence is the guardian of all other laws of wealth. Without it, definiteness of purpose fades, belief weakens, organized effort collapses, alliances break apart, and even value creation is abandoned. With it, every other law remains alive and active, no matter how great the struggle. Persistence is the force that transforms the temporary into the permanent, the unseen into the seen, the desire into the tangible reward. Money may resist you at first, but it cannot resist you forever when you are persistent. The man who never quits eventually compels fortune to yield, for persistence is not merely an attitude. It is a law, a principle as unyielding as gravity, binding wealth to those who refuse to let go until they win. Wealth, like life itself, obeys the law of growth. Money is not meant to remain stagnant. It is a living force that expands when respected, multiplied, and directed with wisdom. Just as a seed planted in fertile soil grows into a tree that produces fruit season after season, so too does money grow when it is placed in the right conditions. Those who treat money as something to be hidden, hoarded, or clutched tightly in fear violate its nature. Money locked away without purpose shrinks in power, but money set in motion, invested, circulated, reinvested, multiplies and returns with abundance. This law teaches us that money is not an end in itself, but a current of energy. When it flows, it strengthens. When it stagnates, it weakens. The man who spends without thought finds his money gone with nothing lasting in return. The man who invests wisely, who reinvests profits, who seeks opportunities to multiply resources, discovers that money grows like a crop, first slowly, then steadily, then abundantly. Growth requires patience, for wealth rarely comes overnight, but when cultivated with persistence, it expands beyond measure. Expansion also requires vision. A small thinker may create a small income, but true wealth belongs to those who see beyond immediate needs and imagine growth on a larger scale. The shopkeeper who sees only today's sales remains a shopkeeper. The one who sees a chain of stores across a nation, who reinvests profits, builds systems, and scales his vision, becomes a magnate. Money expands in proportion to the size of the dream it serves. Small aims produce small returns. Great aims draw great wealth. The law of growth also demands discipline. Many receive money but fail to keep it because they treat it recklessly. They spend more than they earn, consume without thought, and believe the harvest will last forever. But every farmer knows that after a harvest, seeds must be set aside for planting, or there will be no crop in the next season. The wise treat money the same way. They enjoy a portion, save a portion, and reinvest a portion. In doing so, they guarantee not only present comfort but future abundance. Expansion does not happen in isolation. It influences everything it touches. A business that grows employs more people, serves more customers, creates more products, and leaves a larger impact on the world. In the same way, personal wealth that grows is not only for the benefit of the individual, but for family, community, and future generations. True expansion multiplies not just money, but opportunity and influence. And here lies the deeper truth. Money will not expand for the one who abuses it. Those who waste it, disrespect it, or misuse it soon watch it vanish. But those who study it, protect it, guide it wisely, and place it where it can grow, find that it returns multiplied, as if grateful to the one who understood its nature. Money seeks stewardship. It expands in the hands of the disciplined and contracts in the hands of the careless. So wealth is never static. It is either growing or shrinking, multiplying or disappearing, moving forward or backward. The man who applies this law intentionally will find himself lifted higher with every cycle, each expansion building upon the last, until wealth flows with such force that it seems inexhaustible. Growth and expansion are not accidents. They are laws, and when honored, they make money not a fleeting possession, but a river of abundance flowing without end. So remember, this wealth is not random luck, not a gift of chance, not a toss of dice. It is governed by law. And when you align yourself with these laws, money ceases to be a mystery. It becomes your obedient servant. The question is not whether money will come. It is whether you will obey the laws that govern it. Thank you.